Sorry, stand by 1 minute.
All right, that was fantastic. Thank you all very much. Before we break for lunch, I have the unenviable task of asking you to stay for a second. And then there's a demonstration. So we've got a little bit to go before you break for lunch. I'm Dimitruk. I'm the Executive Director of Northwest Regional Planning Commission. We're one of 11 regional planning commissions across the state. In the absence of county government here in Vermont, the regional planning commissions serve to add capacity to local governments to help them do community and economic development, to work on land use, transportation, housing, water quality issues. So I'm really excited to be here today for the RISE Summit as well as the launching of the UVM Institute for Rural Partnerships. I grew up in Vermont in a really, really tiny town, and rural places, as you know, are special. Where I grew up, my next door neighbor was a dairy farmer who was Senator Leahy's cousin. You have the opportunity to serve on select boards with the person who bullied your sister all through high school. You have the opportunity to eat Indian food at the gas station every Wednesday. That is some of the best you've ever eaten. So rural communities are special. They're also a place where you can, like me, grow up really, really poor and not realize how poor you are until you leave, because everybody else is poor too. We have a great opportunity as Vermont moves into the future to harness what's great about our rural communities, to partner with the University of Vermont, to use the resources, the ingenuity, the innovation that is inherent in the people in the state. As part of this work, they want to hear from you. On your table or online, if you're online, you'll find 3 questions that we're hoping you'll take some time to talk about and answer over your lunch break. Maybe you find somebody at your table who's willing to take notes. If you're not staying for lunch, maybe you grab one of those questions and a piece of paper and just leave your thoughts on one of these tables before you go or when you come back. When you look at these questions, I challenge you to think about a few things. Number 1, how do we make sure that we address the unequal economic success in the state of Vermont? How do we make sure that the work that's being done at UVM in our communities impact the actual people who live in them? How do we make sure that work impacts people like my mom, who hustled 3 jobs to pay the bills while we were kids, and people out there who continue to do that work? How do we make sure UVM moves past and includes CEOs and stakeholders, but at the same time doesn't forget the actual people too, who would never consider themselves a CEO or a stakeholder? So I challenge you to think about those things when you answer those questions. How do we make sure UVM pays attention to any blind spots they might have? And how do we make sure UVM finds the best way to engage with us, and how do we find the best way to engage with UVM? I really resonated with the comment that was made earlier about how UVM can seem like a mystery. Even though I went here and all 4 of my children are participating in this university, it still feels like a bit of a mystery to me. I was at a UVM Admitted Students Day, and I heard about this amazing research project being done in the electrical engineering department that completely relates to my profession, and I had never heard about it until I went to Admitted Students Day. To me, that's a great example of how we can all do better. How can I reach out better to the university? How can they engage with me better? And you'll find that as one of your last questions on the table. So thank you for taking the time during lunch to think about this and to give everybody your thoughts and to share your ideas. We're really excited to see what you have to say and to understand your thoughts. And I'm excited about what comes next. Not only with this conference, but with this. So, you want to go?
I'm so sorry for doing this while you were talking. You want to? I think Melissa wants to say a word.
Hello, everyone. I'm Melissa Zelazny. I'm the director for Dining on Campus. Very excited to be here and be a sponsor. And without further ado, I was going to be a little bit of a distraction while they were setting up, but just introduce Rob Marasco, who's our Vice President for Innovation with Sodexo, is bringing a lot of creativity and innovation to all of our programs on campus. and Jennifer Francesco, who is doing a lot of our plant-based work, and we're so excited to have them here doing a very interesting demo for you. But we'll let them talk through their presentation, and they're excited to get started. So thank you all.
Thanks so much. And I'm really sorry to be the last thing between you and lunch, but the good news is the things we're going to demo, you're going to get to eat them. So that's fun, right? Okay, you can go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So we want to just talk a little bit about Gen Z, because those are our customers, after all, in the college space. So that's what this is about, Gen Z, and what do they think about this? Next slide, please. We've done a significant amount of research in this space, proprietary research, as a matter of fact, and we came up with this amazing report, What Motivates Gen Z to Go Plant-Based? And we have a link here, and I'll make sure everyone gets it, and you can download it, take a look at it, and read it. It's online. They are very climate anxious, and with good reason. I've heard a little bit of this morning about what's going on in the space, and I agree 100%. 77% of them, these Gen Zers, our college-age students, identify environmental sustainability as a core value. And 57% of them believe plant-based foods are better for the environment than conventional foods, of course. They associate plant-based foods with a health-conscious lifestyle. They are flavor connoisseurs with a diverse palate. Only 52% of today's 6 to 21-year-olds are non-Hispanic whites like me. They have far more access to plant-based foods. 33% say they've purchased more plant-based products because they have the ability to have access to them and get them. And we'll make sure we get you all the full report. Next slide, please. So I've done a lot of demonstrations and presentations. We always talk about innovation, right? Innovation's on the East Coast and the West Coast, and I don't know if I 100% agree with that. I think innovation's happening in the university space, if that makes sense. And I think when we think about food, everything that's happening from an innovation perspective is about plant-based and more sustainable eating. We've worked very closely with the Humane Society over the past several years. That's actually where Jennifer came from. She'll tell you about that in a minute. On our targets and our strategies to achieve those targets. As you can see, we've done some really amazing work, and we're aspiring to do a lot more. So we're committing, it's pretty public now, 50% of our entrees are going to be plant-based by 2025 on our resident dining menus across the country. So yeah, clap now, because it's a little bit of work, but we're going to get there. We're going to get there. And again, this report as well, you can download this full HSUS report and read about not just us, but all the companies in the non-commercial space and what they're doing and what their plans are. But when we plan for 50% of our menus to be plant-based and ensuring that our customers want to eat them, those are two vastly different things, right? If we don't make those plant-based dishes amazing and market them the right way, we're not going to see those customers make that change that we want them to make. And you'll see I have a little arrow here pointing to default veg. We're going to talk about that next. What if a simple change in the way universities present food choices in dining halls could help us meet our global climate goals? In the study we've done here, the research for nonprofit Food for Climate League, FCL, I don't know if you've heard of them, in collaboration with Better Food Foundations, us, and Boston College, we successfully tested the impact of serving plant-based dishes as the default option. Not you have to ask for it to get a garden burger or tofu in your stir fry, but the default option when you walk up to that particular format, you're going to get the plant-based thing. And we did this at Tulane, Lehigh, and RPI. And I'm going to turn over to Jen to say kind of how that went.
Yeah, absolutely. If you could go to the next slide, please.
I'm sorry.
Oh, it's okay. I'm going to read a couple of these orange boxes because I think they're really important in understanding our findings. On the first one up in the upper left-hand corner, you see that when the defaults are implemented consistently, average take rate of plant-based dishes increased up to 81.5%. That's huge, without any other changes with the dining experience. And then on days when the plant-based dish was served as the default option, we observed a 23.6% reduction in food-related greenhouse gas emissions. That's incredible, right? I mean, if we make choices obvious for our students, our Gen Z, and make them equitable and delicious and craveable, customers will tend to try it, right? And then on the next slide, we'll see, Rob and I talk about plant-based all day long. As he mentioned, I came from the Humane Society of the United States as their culinary program manager, really pushing plant-based options. And as you can imagine, there's two types of camps out there. There's team whole food plant-based proteins, and there's team alt product proteins. So you have the whole food plant-based, which is where you'll get your Mediterranean roasted vegetable bowl that has your falafel protein in there, and it's delicious and bright in color, maybe some beet hummus on it. Absolutely delicious. But then you also have your alt proteins, which could be your Impossible Smash Burger or your loaded chili cheese hot dog that looks absolutely delicious. And I know I'm probably making you all hungry. I promise. I swear you will eat after this. But with those two options, does it really matter? Or is it more about making these equitable offers, not having the sad steamed broccoli and sad brown rice in the corner as the plant-based option? You can actually have both if you want. If you take a look at these tacos, we've made them numerous times. They're absolutely delicious. These ones, as you see, are made with lentils and mushrooms that are seasoned with chorizo spices to replicate chorizo. Fantastic. Or you can also use an alt sausage crumble and use those same spices and have the same product. It's all about having those equitable offers for our students because they're demanding it. And when it just tastes good, it's just good food that everyone wants to try. Whether you're vegan, vegetarian, flexitarian, climatarian, meat eater, I could keep going on. So what we really wanted to do today was to do 2 quick demos, which you're going to be able to enjoy in just a few minutes. I promise this won't take long. We're going to do an alt product, which Rob's going to be showcasing for our plant-based indulgent freak shakes. So I hope everyone's ready. And then I'm going to be doing more of a whole food plant-based option where I'm going to make a nacho cheese from potatoes and carrots and a couple ingredients that you have in your refrigerator and your household items. So pretty neat and pretty impressive. I'm going to start with the nacho cheese first, but I'm going to let you kind of add some colorful comments.
I'm gonna hold the mic while you're talking, yes. And I think I forgot to mention, there was also a link to that report, the default veg study, so we'll make sure all 3 links are provided to everybody and you have them. All right, I'm gonna hold the mic for you to get started here, Jen.
So with the magic of recipe making on TV, we'll say, I'm going to make this, and the base of this is boiled potatoes, boiled carrots. Thank you. The carrots are in here solely for color. We're going to make that iconic nacho cheese color that you see from the cans or at the movie theaters, right? This is a great option because it's virtually allergen friendly, right? It's virtually allergen free. So we're using some white potatoes that have been boiled off and some carrots, and it's a 2-to-1 ratio. Now, when you boil it, you can boil them together. Keep that water. Keep that water because that's what's going to loosen this up, and it's going to have all those proteins and starches in it that's going to give it that stretch that you're looking for. So I'm making quite a big batch here. I'm going to do 4 cups of boiled off potatoes and carrots. Now I have used this with butternut squash. I was talking today with someone who used cauliflower before. We've used sweet potatoes. Again, it's just gonna alter the flavor profile a little, but feel free to use whatever you would like with this. So I'm gonna put this on. I'm going to add a little bit, and this you kind of have to measure with your heart. So we're gonna add that. If it's still tight, we'll add a little bit more. We're going to add some neutral oil. So if you have canola oil, that would be wonderful. A little bit of that. And then you have your seasonings. So I will tell you, salt, pepper is a must. And then you can have fun with it. I like to use garlic powder, onion powder. If you have roasted off fresh, you can use that as well. It'll just be more flavorful and more enhanced. If you like spice like me, throw in some jalapenos. You can add in a can of Rotel. You can have all sorts of fun with this. So I'm going to add a little bit of salt. A little bit of pepper. And I'm going to add some cayenne just because I do like the heat. Got your onion powder, garlic powder, and a little bit of lemon juice. And we're going to bring that cheesy flavor that we're looking for from nutritional yeast. If people are not familiar with nutritional yeast, this is a byproduct of the molasses making process. It's really high in B12. It's great. It just has this umami cheesy flavor, right? I sprinkle it over popcorn. I love it.
One of the reasons I hired Jen was that she made this recipe when I first met her, and I was like, are you kidding me right now? So I can't wait for you guys to try it.
So we're going to put that all together. We may need a little bit more liquid, but we're going to give it a go here. So hear me over this. So while this is blending up, it may have to go a couple times, and I might put you to work and just kind of scrape down in there. But we're going to put this over nachos, one of my favorite ways to do this. So we'll top it in a second here. But if you're looking at ingredients that you have around your house and you're going to make this dish, this is fantastic to do and make in batches, and you can put it in those Ziploc bags, flatten them out, and put them in your freezer. It freezes and thaws perfectly fine. You may have to add a wee bit of water to it just to get it back to the consistency that you're looking for. I put this over cooked off noodles all the time and make mac and cheese for my little nieces and nephews, and they have no idea it's not even cheese. It's like that rib sticking, delicious cheese. We add some broccoli in it, they go nuts.
I don't want to assume, but I think it's done.
I will let you hold it. Look at that. That went pretty good. All right. Oh, I know. You like the ladle approach. I like to just do this. Differ. So if you can tell, I know it's kind of tinted blue. I picked the wrong one. But I'm going to show you, and I'm going to do my little... That is potatoes and carrots, everyone. So you will have the chance to try us. I promise you it's absolutely delicious. You can see it has that iconic color that we're looking for. That's solely from that carrot. But easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Actually has a little lemon in it, so that made sense. Yeah, so we're going to... I'll do the ladle. I know you're dying for me to do the ladle. Here we go. So if we take this and make the nachos, so take a little bit of this, pour it over. Look at that. How good. Oh, jeez. Right? And I'm talking about that lentil crumble. Put some on top of that with some black beans, avocado. I'm ready to go. I could just keep talking about food all day long. I'm so sorry. So add some of that, and you got yourself a hearty little appetizer. Yeah. So we started with appetizer. We'll end with dessert.
That's right.
This is one of our favorite things, right?
Over here for me. Now it's my turn. I get to make the fun thing. I get to make the freak shakes. So two of the catering folks that work for us, I think they're students. I don't want to assume they're students. They said, "Why do you call them freak shakes?" And I said, "Because there's all kind of crazy, freaky ingredients like popping bobas and gluten-free cookies. And when you drink it later, I promise you, you're going to freak out because you won't believe it's plant-based." Sorry for the dad joke. Okay. So this is very simple.
They're going to still come. So if you like that
Very
one.
simple. And it's an alt product. So this is actually an oat base, an oat ice cream base we get from Rich Foods. If you've ever heard of Rich Foods. And I'm going to do about equal parts of this base. If I could see where to measure it here.
Can you hold it?
Can't see the lines on this thing. Oh, there we go. I'm going to do about equal parts base with ice. Okay?
That's it, right?
That's
Base.
it. And a little bit of strawberry syrup, which you can get anywhere. This, I think, is Hershey's. So real easy to get. Maybe a little more.
Measure with your heart.
Measure with my heart. And then we're going to put the ice, roughly equal parts. I'm going to put the lid on it.
And this is actually one of the flavors that they'll be able to try.
Yes. You're also going to have, in addition to this strawberry shortcake that I'm making, you're going to have the Oreo mint explosion, which is outrageous as well.
Now, we've actually developed over 12 recipes, and when we were in the test kitchen, we had to do our due diligence, so we tried every single flavor that day. I could have literally ran home to Buffalo. I was on such a sugar high. And this doesn't take long, right, Rob?
Yeah, while it's blending, I'm going to do a little garnish here with the strawberry syrup.
Yeah,
Have a little
make it
fun.
all fancy.
Have a little fun, yes.
That one needs a little more.
Got it. Okay, and then hopefully we're done here. Oh yes, it looks perfect. So we're going to pour this in there. Oh, beautiful. Yep. And we've got some plant-based whipped topping. This one we made, or Jen made, I should say, from, where'd you make it from?
So that's made from aquafaba, which is literally the liquid from a can of garbanzo beans. And we added some cream of tartar with some granulated sugar and a little bit of vanilla and just whipped the heck out of it. And you're going to taste it. It's really this nice kind of marshmallowy topping.
And just like anything else, you can go to any grocery store, and just like you find the little cans of Ready Whip, there's coconut milk, whipped topping, there's almond, all the different flavors. So I put a strawberry on here, a nice gluten-free cookie, and just for a little fun, some bursting bobas right on top.
How
And that's
cool.
what you all are going to have in just a second.
I love it. And no judging if you want to try both flavors. There's no judging.
Yeah, and I think if I'm not mistaken, this is it. It's time to eat lunch. So
We made you hungry.
thanks for hanging out with us.
Everyone.